Okay, so giving you a little bit more information about what I know um, about Jean Jernigan Roberts and her Manson occults um, hostage rackets. Okay, and this goes into slave labor. Okay, so also, well, slave labor is what I'm going to call it. Um, but I'm talking about Um, sorry, she's trying to control my speech because she's Charles Mansoning in the background. Um, the different kinds of slave labor. And she even punned the word labor. So you get what I'm saying there. Okay, she even did that too. So I'm talking about two different types. Okay, so when I was in Oklahoma City, I mean, it still has me still has me reeling. It still has me so angry. Um, enough to where, I mean, just instantly, I just knew that I have to find a way to get through to you guys to tell you what she's been doing. So excuse me, I'm sorry. She's totally controlling my speech. There's multiple people trying to talk through me at once. Um, she puts in my brain. I could not believe she did this. I literally wanted to kill her. I could not believe that she did this. So let me give you a backdrop. So in all my decode, where I decode back through my whole life, all the way back to when I was little, I mean, to my date of birth even, around the early 70s mark when I lived in Globe, she started, and it could be before that too, I just don't have it decoded, but I started when I was decoding everything for my life, she was making threats to me, in the future about sending me underground and putting me in slave labor. Okay. Um, and she was making threats to me all the time. And I managed to decode, like I decoded and revealed a lot of different, Bajo names that are in that because she's like making threats to me in the future. Okay. And this goes along with her gunny sacking. Okay. So, and like I explained to you, her whole mantra and everything as she has said about me and has said to me, basically I was put on this earth for her to do whatever she wants to, and what am I going to do about it? So you know all of that. So um anyway, she puts in my head, I cannot believe she did this. She puts in my head a montage, a freaking montage of women. They were white women, they're Caucasian women, a montage of women over a long period of time, one overlaid over the other. So there's like they blended in, the one woman would blend into the next woman. So I would say probably over a 50-year time span or a 60-year time span. Okay. Like a long length of time, because I can tell by the way the women look that it's older time periods, and she blends them into each other. Okay. And in that they're in the same position doing the same job, and they're terrified and they're scared, very, 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 very terrified and scared. And I drew this out as much as I could when I turned this into the police here in Tulsa, what this scene looks like in my head. And I even see it in the movies, in older movies, like really, really older movies, like maybe 60s, 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s. So the women are sitting in this little inlet, like it's a cave wall. It's a dirt wall. It's a cave wall. And there's like a little inlet, and it's carved out just enough for, I mean, if you take a filing cabinet, we have a filing cabinet here in the living room. If you take a filing cabinet, a 2-door filing cabinet, if you take that height of it, and then you take maybe I would say like the height of like a 4-door filing cabinet. Okay, about that high. And then probably as wide as like 2 filing cabinets wide. And the women, it's just one woman, and then it overlays into the next woman, and they're crying and they're terrified, but they're just doing what they're being demanded to do. So what they're doing is working on putting together biodegradable weapons that Gene Roberts plans to use in future terror attacks. And they're on the table in front of them. And the women are like overlaid one over the other. So it's a montage, like I said. So she shows this in my brain. And this is what she thinks she's going to do. She thinks she's the leader of Charles Manson. She is the one that is holding people hostage. She is the one forcing people into slave labor. And then she thinks she's going to racket it, and she's going to act like she's going to be the one to bust it and then blame everyone else when it is her doing. Anyway, so I'm freaking out that she took the time. Okay, not only my whole lifespan, so she's been knowing this has been going on, like, since I've been alive, okay? And she threatened to send me there when I was a child, okay, in the future as an adult. So she's been knowing this is going on the whole time. She had 2 fraud tours at the Pentagon. I mean, who gets to go to the Pentagon? No one. She has 2 fraud tours at the Pentagon with her stolen valor ass, and she had a chance each time to say something. And did she say something? No, she did not. She just kept at it. She kept on enslaving. She kept on trafficking. She kept on committing terrorism. She kept on racketing, and she kept on blaming everyone else. I have nothing for her. She needs to be arrested. So now take that, and then she took the time to do a little freaking Adobe Photoshop and turn it into a freaking montage. I'm surprised she didn't stick freaking glitter and jewels on it. I mean, you take the time to put together those little video montage and stick it in my brain, but you could care less about the people in the video? No, because she just wants to be a superstar. Also, speaking of slave labor, I've seen people underground forced to work in there. I know they're afraid of actual lava. Like, they're actually truly terrified of lava or hot rocks. And I know it's somewhere in northern Arizona, but I've seen them working in fire, doing something with metal, and they're forced to be there. They're forced to work like that. And it makes me bawl my eyes out. I've got a picture on my Pinterest with a girl, and I'm basically saying that's myself, how I feel, the pain I feel for people that she's got enslaved in slave labor underground. Literally, they're literally like working underground in literal hell, forced to do this, whatever it is they're doing. Then she also says that she's a breeder. She says that she's above the law because she's a breeder. And she says all her women are above the law because they're breeders. And I know some of the girls that she claims are her girls because they talk to me in AI. They can't stand Gene either. They're like, oh God, here she goes again. She's going to start talking about the good old Manson days. They make fun of Gene because she's like, well, this is how it was back then. And she goes on her 60s freaking rant. I mean, people make fun of her. But anyway, she told people that they have these bracelets. I call them hippie bracelets. What they look like is like leather brown, like the 70s belts, the brown leather belts, like where it's soft on the underside, but it's leather on the outside, like that kind of leather. They're leather bracelets, and they have some kind of inscription on them. And they said that their bracelets get them out of anything. They're above the law. They get away with anything. And then, like, I actually got into arguments with them. And because they're really, really, I mean, their minds are really, really messed up because she is very abusive to them. And I'm like, no, that's not the way it works. There's the United States Constitution. We don't have to go by the United States Constitution. We can do anything we want. That's what we're promised. That's what they say. And I'm like, no, your bracelet. And I'm like, no, I've said that your hippie bracelet is not a replacement for the United States Constitution. That's not how it works. I don't care what she's fed you. I don't care what she's telling you, so, I mean, it's been like a conversational battle back and forth, but I mean, you've got her special favorites, she does her favorites within her ring, and I'm talking about her women that will do anything for her. And then you have people that are out of it, that are like in lower tiers, that just want her arrested and want it over. And everything she does feeds her top tier of women. And the women of the lower tiers, who aren't even really your tiers, it's just people that are underground that she thinks that she owns or she runs, and she really doesn't. But they're like, everything she does always feeds her top people, and everybody else always continues to suffer. So it's like, I've got to find a way to get around it and get Jean turned in. And I'm trying to think of what else. I can't think of anything else right now.